I prepared for this talk with having a Q&A mindset in my head when I plan on presenting you a little bit what would the pilgrimage look like in Transylvania for a couple of minutes, and then answer the millions of questions that I'm sure that you might have. Um, Transylvania, let me share my screen actually because you can see better what I'm talking about. How you need to envision Transylvania. It's the name Transylvania literally means that the land beyond the forest. Trans is beyond and Silva is forest. And this is the region that you might be visiting if you are attending the pilgrimage, which I'm highly recommending for every UU person. Not because I want to get rich, not because I want our church to get rich based on these pilgrimages, because we are not doing this for a profit reason. We have we are operating on a 5% profit margin, basically out of which 2 or 3% always goes to unrelated costs that we cannot estimate, and 2 or 3% goes towards a fund that would help Ukrainian refugees, would help students who might need scholarship in order to study at universities, and would help other marginalized communities. So I'm not recommending this because I'm a sales agent here. I'm still a minister. I just preach to you, but I'm sharing this because I've we've had 3 groups this year. I'm seeing how deeply meaningful it can be, and even life-changing in a spiritual way can be for you people to visit the birthplace of Unitarianism and to see how in Eastern Europe, a land that is not famous for many things, in this interesting context, people could survive because of a law of religious freedom. When from the south the Turkish came, from the east the Russians came, from the west there were the Habsburgs and the Austrians who came, and in this piece of land, these people survived, and many other communities survived. So you would be visiting those areas where our founding religious thinkers in the 16th century, mainly men, and from the 18th century, many women as well, paved the way for a liberal but a well-organized liberal society. You would arrive to Kolozsvár. This is where I'm preaching to you right now, a charming city of 400,000. It is considered the capital of Transylvania, a huge church that was Unitarian for 150 years. Then it went back to the Catholics, is in the city center, and we would visit the Unitarian High School. I don't have pictures of it right now. We would visit the House of Religious Freedom, the local Unitarian church, which is the biggest Unitarian church in Transylvania and maybe in the world. I need to challenge myself. And we would visit the statue of David Francisc and the round stone where famously David Francisc had his first Unitarian sermon, and he was so powerful that he converted the entirety of the city. So you would be visiting really the birthplace of Transylvania. From here, we would basically go around the whole Transylvania area. We would visit Bordeaux with its salt mine. They have a beautiful salt mine, and there is a museum where they are keeping the famous picture of David Francisc. Uh, I don't want to spoil. I was thinking of showing it to you. From Tordo, we would visit the Tordo Gorge, which is a beautiful natural beauty of our region of Transylvania. And from the Tordo Gorge, we would go to Tolotsko. I will show you one picture, and hopefully you will get a glimpse of what type of regions we are visiting. It's beautiful. It's a 100% Unitarian village, and I mean, I literally feel like I'm in Switzerland or in Austria in the big Alps when I'm visiting there. From here, we will start moving towards Kissolyos. Kissolyos, your partner village, is in this region of Transylvania with many hills. Let me see if I can find it right now very quickly. This is not Solymus, and if Solymus is around, I need to type it in. It's a remote small village, but a beautiful one, right here. It did not pop up. And you will spend 3 meaningful days with your partner congregation in Kissolymus, a lovely Unitarian church with a beautiful new or refurbished organ, thanks to your help. And this is where you will spend the 3 days with your partners. What will happen? Many palinka will be flowing towards you. Palinka is our national drink. It's a brandy made of plum, usually, or other type of fruits. It's pretty strong. Beware of that. But they will serve it to you non-stop, from morning to evening. Also, they will serve to you many, many traditional local food, um, and you will get a glimpse of really how people live in Transylvania. uh, just expect that you will have an abundance of things to do, to eat, to drink in these 3 days. That is true for the other parts as well, but this is a truly genuine part where people are welcoming you in their homes, opening their gates for you, and sharing what they have best in their houses. From here, on our way back, we would visit some of the non-Unitarian places because this is a pilgrimage and you want to visit the Unitarian significant places. We did that. And from Kishoimush, we are coming on another way. We would visit Shageshwar, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site town with a beautiful, beautiful city center. And from Shageshwar, we are going to Seben, which should be, it's not here, but it's here. We are spending the night in Neuseeben. This is a former German town, a Saxon town. It was founded by the German settlers. The president of Romania is a German, interestingly enough, and he's coming from this city. He was the mayor of this city, and it has some charming European cobblestone streets. We will have a lovely time here. And from Seben, we are coming back to Kolozsvár, but stopping in Deva. Deva is the place where I was preaching about with the huge, let me see if I can find a picture of it, with the fortress so there is the town down there, and there is the fortress, the castle up here. And this is where David Francis was imprisoned, and this is where he died in prison because of his beliefs. So the pilgrimage continues with this. From Deva, on our way back to Kolozsvár, we will be stopping in Gyulafehérvár with the uh, oldest church in Transylvania being here. It's a 1,000-year-old church. This is a better picture of it. This is the archbishopcy of the Catholic Church, and this is where the Unitarian King David, John Sigismund, uh, has his tombstone. We would visit that. We would have lunch here, and then we would come back to Kolozsvár. In Kolozsvár, we would have a farewell dinner with traditional dances. You would have a chance to learn some of the traditional Hungarian dances and to see the traditional Hungarian clothes. And then on the next day, you will be flying out from the airport. Now, basically, this would happen next year in fall, hopefully with many people and not just a handful of them. And at this point, I would like to shut up and to leave the room for the questions because I'm sure that there will be many. One important thing I would still mention before I'm giving out the possibility to question. I'm sure that you will ask about the price, the very natural questions, and the most obvious question. Uh, at this moment, it seems like that we can organize this uh, 270 for $270 per day uh, per person if you are going in a room, if you are sharing the room with somebody, and around $310 per day per person if you are going in a single accommodation, so you're going alone in the room. Once again, the price may sound high or look high. I know that if I go to New York, for example, that's only the accommodation, but in this price, it is included the accommodation, all three meals, the interpreter and tour guide, the transportation, so the bus and the driver, uh, interpretation devices, basically everything is included, even a small financial help to the families that are hosting you. So you shouldn't be thinking that besides this, you need to give like $100 to the families in to show recognition, because we are not encouraging that, and they will receive a fair share from this amount of money. And basically, besides of souvenirs, which you will buy on your own, you will have everything covered in Transylvania. Now that is the price part. Oh, well, if more people can attend, I can work on group rates, and with the bus company and with some of the restaurants and hotels, we can get a better rate. So if more people come, maybe we could go down to around 250 or and 290. So 250 for double occupancy and 290 for single occupancy. That would mean more than 20 or 22 people. All the calculations are transparent, and I would be very happy to share with you the spreadsheet that I'm working on. You need to think that around 80 to $100 per day would go to the accommodation, 80 to 100 would go towards restaurants, and the remaining sum of money would pay for everything else. So this is how the calculations are made. And now is the part when I'm shutting up and I'm leaving the room for the questions.
Hello. Okay, thank you, Reverend Zsolt. And we also, some people might have questions that are completely on a different topic, but related to International Unitarian, Universalist, Unitarian, and UU activities. So feel free to ask. And does anybody have any questions? And we're going to give you a mic so the people online can hear.
Hi, I just the number of days in Transylvania, and the travel would be by bus then in between the cities?
Yes, travel will be by bus. The number of days is, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, with the departure day being the 10th and the first day being the arrival. So it's 8 full days and 2 traveling days. And the transportation will be by bus. In Transylvania, yes.
Just speak directly into it.
I just had a question relating to the total cost of the 10 days. I arrived late at this meeting and I may have missed that, but do
No
you have a
worries.
number in total?
Sure. I have an estimate at this moment. The price will depend on how many people would attend, because some of the costs are shared by the group. That is the bus, that is some of the restaurants and hotels where I can secure a group deal. At this moment, it looks like that the whole price for somebody who is sharing the room with another person is uh, around $2,500. That is for the 9 full days. And for those who are going in a room alone with single occupancy, that would be 2,825 at this moment. So this is what would be around. This is why I share the per day um, uh, estimate as well, just so you know around how much would be. My best interest is to secure the best deal for you with as many people attending as you can. But around the amount of money would be around this, plus minus 10%. I will know, I will send you an exact amount when I will have the numbers of people most likely would attend.
Heard. Yes, this is probably off topic, but I'm fascinated by the emblem on your tie and the way it is knotted. I just thought maybe there would be an interesting Transylvanian story there.
You sure do. You're sure right, because it is the Transylvanian coat of arms. So the coat of arms of the Hungarian Unitarian Church. Let me. It's so you can see it better. It has a dove and it has a snake around it. Now you might wonder how on earth the Unitarians figured out to put a dove with a snake on a coat of arms. It goes to the biblical passage when Jesus sent out his disciples to preach the good news of love and peace. He said that here I'm sending you out as sheep among the wolves. Be wise as a serpent and humble as a dove. And we put it in our coat of arms because we strongly believe, and in an institutional way, we believe that humility and wisdom should go together for a Unitarian person. That's what Jesus is asking us, but also that's what I feel that is right as well, because on an institutional level, the church always built schools first and then started building churches. So the wisdom and the humility went together, and we always favored a little bit more the science over faith. And that's what I'm teaching to the kids in the school as well, that you can use only your wisdom, and then you are bragging about how much you learned and how much you achieved and stuff without humility. You can use only your humility, and then you're becoming naive because you're not using your wisdom. You are spreading your resources while not thinking about it in a strategic or mission-based or value-based way. But if you practice the wisdom and humility together, you have two elements, the wisdom and the humility. And this is what I'm wearing every day in the school in order to, and this is what they also have in the classrooms in order to remind them every day that we need to have the wisdom because we are at the school, but we also need to have the humility because we are people of faith. So this is what you're seeing here. Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you very
The
much. Or how
dominant or the main language that's spoken where the tour in Transylvania? I mean, wherever the tour goes?
Yep. The main language inside the group will be absolutely English. And besides, in the society, you would hear Romanian and Hungarian, and some of the Roma or Gypsy language as well. Where when you will be traveling to your partner village, that would be Hungarian. That's almost, I think, 100% Hungarian community. Maybe the policeman is Romanian. That's it. When you go to bigger towns, like in Kolozsvár, around 15% of of people speak Hungarian. That is mostly the city center, and 85% in the surroundings are speaking Romanian. You will go to Sibiu. I shared you the charming town where the president comes from. Many people speak German. So Transylvania is a multicultural region. Um, Feel free to ask your tour guide what language is that, what language is this, because there are many languages. I'm speaking 3 languages because I need to, not because I'm so clever, but because in an everyday basis I'm using Hungarian, Romanian, and then English as well. But with the group, obviously the main language would be English.
Thank you.
Does it include airplane flight?
So this price is only for the inland, so the inland portion of the pilgrimage. We are not dealing with airplane tickets because it's very complicated. We are not a travel agency, and we cannot vouch for having flight changes. And so, yeah, basically the price is for the base here. I compared first. What we tried to do is we reached out to professional travel agencies, and they were giving us horrific prices of $3,500 for the same package. And that's when I decided as a volunteer to start organizing these pilgrimages, because I wanted to cut out the third party and to bring down the cost as much as I can do. But realistically, these are the costs. When I first saw the cost, it was too high for me as well. It really was. Because I live in Transylvania, I know that $270 per day is too much for a person living here. But then, hotel, bus, and everything else need to be covered. And I have experience with 3 groups this year, and all 3 groups had a very meaningful time. And they shared with me that, if they would go to New York or Washington or Boston, they would spend only on accommodation this much of money. So that gave me a context in this regard. If I could, I would go more down, believe me. I just can't. This is the reality of the prices in Transylvania.
I have a question about the teachings of the church there in Transylvania. I understand you're Christian. How do you feel about the founders of other world religions, other gurus and sages and so on?
Excellent question. Thank you very much for it. So we are also founding members of the International Association for Religious Freedom, of which the UUA is also a member. And last year we organized the World Congress of this organization, and many uh, representatives of world religions came. It was so beautiful to sit in a Unitarian church among the Lord's table. Every Unitarian church has a Lord's table, and then you would have a Buddhist, you would have a Muslim, you would have a Zoroastrian, and many other types of religions. We are absolutely open. We are Unitarians over here on this part of the world as well. In the name, we are not universalists, but in our faith, we are also universalists. We accept every way of thinking. We acknowledge that there are many other cultural upbringings. We also acknowledge that our way is definitely not the perfect way of thinking about God, of worshiping, of being in community. Our Christianity is coming from the very complicated history of Transylvania as well, with the Muslim Turks coming from the south, with the Orthodox Russians coming from the east, and the Catholic uh, Habsburgs coming from the west. And I don't want to get very much into this. If you are coming to the pilgrimage, I will have a lot of time to talk with you. But imagine a political context where all these influences are growing into a region. And David Francis thought that, we have the Muslims who are monotheists, and then we have the Habsburgs who are Catholic. And in between, we can create a mixture of these two. And that was what he called as Unitarian, a monotheist religion, believing in one God, because that's, what means Unitarian, but also Christian, because it believes that Jesus is our highest prophet, the human Jesus, so the person who did not become God and did not resurrect and was not born from a virgin, but the human being who taught us how to help our neighbors, how to love our neighbors, how to be a good Samaritan. And that makes us Christians, we believe. In this way, the Turks were happy that we are monotheists and not believing in the Trinity. The Habsburg were happy that we are Christian. So, long story short, this is why we are still Christian here. Christianity is still the main driving force of the country. Christianity was the one that helped communities survive during communism, the very latest Ceausescu dictatorship. So you need to understand Christianity in this context. And back to your question.
Homestays, where we're going, all homestays, and how many different spots will we be spending the night?
Excellent question. I can answer only when I see a full group of names, but you would basically will tell me if you want to go by a family, you want to go alone, you want to go with somebody to the families, and this is how and the local minister, Levente, will try to find the families. So it would be up to you how you want to go, and I'm sure that around 10 or 12 families would very, very happily, everybody would happily host you, but you would be split around with around 10 or 12 families. But it's a village that has one main road, so you would be basically sharing the same road. You'd be neighbors to each other.
Is this on? My friend here has mobility issues. She uses a cane, sometimes a walker, and she'd like to know what kind of accommodations you might have for people who have mobility issues.
Can you once again share with me what is the mobility issue?
Her friend walks with a cane.
I hear you. Yes, a very important question, a very good one. So we are trying to accommodate in every way possible these mobility issues as well. It will be challenging in places like Devo when we need to go up the hill to visit the castle. Maybe she wants to wait for us because we are also on a tight schedule. In accommodations, we have hotel. In the hotels, we have always book hotels with elevators. so that shouldn't be a major issue. But with many of the walkings that we will be doing in the cities, that is a thing to consider. Especially if we have a bigger group, uh, I will need to be honest, we will need to keep some pace in order to visit everything. And in those moments, we are very flexible. If there is somebody who can walk on a slower pace with the person, it's fine. And we will also be able to wait in some spots, but in some of the spots, we need to keep our pace. And in those spots, I would hate the feeling of having anyone being left out, but also I would hate the feeling of having 20 people not visiting some of the areas. So that is my honest answer. We are trying to accommodate to the best of our abilities in every way, but also we are asking for flexibility in this regard.
Hi, Reverend Zsolt. We met on Zoom. I'm Pat McLaughlin. I just want to tell you, I just loved your sermon this morning. It was so wonderful. So thank you so much for being with us today. And I was wondering what activities in Kisholimos do you think that those of us that go will be able to partake in?
Thank you very much for the feedback as well. It was lovely being with you. I love being with Unitarian UU congregations in the States and preaching in UU congregations because you are curious, you are supportive. I love it. I don't want to just justify myself, but thank you very much for having me, and it's my honor and my privilege. In Kishoimos, I cannot tell you right now. However, what we are usually doing is, well, according to today's plans, you would arrive at around the fall Thanksgiving. Now, the fall Thanksgiving in the Unitarian churches is one of the four Sundays in the whole year when we are taking communion, bread and wine communion. Uh, and that's a very meaningful and spiritually moving experience in a church. So that would be one of the things that you would have in Kishoimos. And on Friday and Saturday, we would still need to work out this part with the congregation. However, what you can expect. Many cultural activities with the local folks, some of the cooking together, some of the visiting the area together. It's mostly a cultural experience, while this weekend is usually saved for not having much travel, not having much legging included, but just to sit down and enjoy this village life, because you will have a lot of information and a lot to walk to before that, and you will have a lot after that as well. But these village days would be the when you are arriving in Transylvania and your soul arrives. So that's what you can expect in Kishoimos. And expect a lot of surprises. Like and I cannot tell the families what to do in your free times. They would get you to their small storage room and they would show you a lot of the marmalade that they are doing and stuff like that. They would show you about their animals, and every household is different. So you would have a lot of stories to share with each other when you get back. All in all, basically, that's what would happen in the 2 days.
So, Margaret Knudsen online asked, what gifts could we bring to the host families? When we were there in 06, they could use new clothespins and rope.
Mhm. Great question about the gifts. I usually recommend something unique to your region because they know that, American friends are arriving. Honestly, many people know about America, McDonald's, KFC, skyscrapers, muscle cars. Basically, that's what they know. And I always encourage American friends to bring something truly local and unique to them, something that would, remind them that, this is the real America, not what I'm seeing in the movies and what I'm hearing. Now, those can be a good couple of things. You can bring anything homemade, and then you can compare with the families, what is a plum marmalade for you and what is for us. Maybe it's more sugar, used in Transylvania or in America. You would have interesting conversations about it. If you can bring an American whiskey because you're famous for American whiskey. I'm just giving you a couple of ideas. You can bring, let me see. I love these type of Altoids, these strong mints, These are specific to your country. So you can bring something that it is American and it is meaningful, and it can generate meaningful conversations. And don't fall for stereotypes. People, I mean, you would like to surprise the guests. That is my answer. I don't have a perfect answer, honestly, because I don't know that much your state and your region. I haven't traveled yet. I hope to do so in the future. But something from your heart. That's what you need to bring. It doesn't need smoked salmon. There you go. There you go. You would have interesting conversations based on that too, because we have many rivers and people are catching salmon as well. Yes, these are the things to bring. Um, just have a mindset that you want to surprise a person who does not know much about America, and with this gift, they would get a glimpse of the real life in America.
So Reverend, I was in Keystone Limos in 2019, and we were told about reading glasses to bring for people. And when in Keystone Limos, I didn't bring enough pair. I only brought 8 pair. And it was the cooks in the kitchen who were exchanging their glasses, trying to find the right strength so they could read the ingredients. So I'm wondering, are there other practical items to bring in addition to more reading glasses?
That's interesting. I am even surprised by the reading glasses. I don't know at this moment. I will need to consult with the minister, Reverend Levente, and if there is any practical thing, I will let you know, or we will let you know. At this moment, I cannot come up with something that they cannot afford to buy, and they expect it to have it from America, honestly. But we will ask and we will see if there is any practical things. I will let you know. Thank you.
Yes, I had a question earlier that you answered with the amount of houses we'd be staying in. It depends on how many
Yes.
people come on the trip. And the question was about how many different locations, like, we'll be unpacking at. So we go
I
to
hear
a
you.
place and we stay there, and then we go to another place and stay there. So how many different of those
Yeah.
are there?
I'm sorry for misunderstanding them. So basically, in the village, you would be set with a family, and then on all the other days, the truth is that you would basically unpack in the evening and pack in the morning. However, the place of start in Kolozsvár and the place of arrival in Kolozsvár would be the same. If there are any things that you don't want to bring on the route, you can leave in Kolozsvár. But basically, every day we are visiting different places, and we will be just one night accommodations in hotels. So then,
Any more questions?
I was just wondering, what would be the most closest airport to go? What would be the most closest airport to go to?
Kolozsvár, the city. This is the second biggest airport in the country, and we are connected with the main hubs that you would be flying into. That would be Munich in Germany, that could be Zurich in Switzerland. So what you would think about when you are booking your flights is uh, so you have like 4 or 5 cities in Europe where to fly into, and we have direct connection with those cities. Uh, I'm from the northwestern US. I'm sure that you would have 3 or 4 flights. That's the truth, and that's hard, I know, because you would fly into Chicago or some main hub. If you're lucky enough to find a way into Chicago, then from Chicago you would fly to Munich. That's 8 hours, and from Munich 1 hour to Kolozsvár, 1 hour and 30 minutes. That would be the best option. That's what I was doing with Chicago, but it's minimum 3 flights. But you can fly into the city, and I will be waiting and greeting for you at the airport. And from there, you just sit back and leave your fate on my hopefully capable hands.
line that you prefer over another one that's good to get to Romania?
No, this is the best. I mean, you can get
Is
to.
there an airline that you prefer or that you think is better to get to Romania, like Lufthansa or?
Lufthansa. So Lufthansa would be one, Swiss would be another one from Switzerland, and the third option you could have, but it's a slightly longer option, is through Istanbul with Turkish Airlines. These are the three very reliable ones. I would avoid any low-cost airlines in Europe, while the prices are very good. They charge a lot for baggage and they are unpredictable. Sometimes they fly, sometimes they are very late. It's a very complicated, and for international flights you don't want to choose that. But yes, the three safe options that I would vouch for would be Lufthansa, Swiss, and Turkish.
Oh, we have another question, and I wanted to mention before we run out of time, on Saturday, the 23rd, we're going to have an online meeting with Reverend Zsolt. We're meeting at 9 o'clock our time, and so make sure you got your email, because we're going to be sending out emails. I'm going to be sending out like today or soon, and we'll have a Zoom link or something for an online meeting for people interested in going on the pilgrimage. So 9 a.m. our time on Saturday. Okay, Pat, have a question.
Yes, I was wondering if the people in Kisholimos are still making lace and embroidery and those kinds of handmade things that we were able to get from them in the past that I just love and I use in my home. And we shared with other congregants here when we came back. Would those be available? Are they still able to create those?
Yeah, what an amazing question. And what an amazing thing that you brought them back and you're using it on an everyday basis and even gifting them. Yes, they are making them. Uh, I I would kindly ask if the group would like to buy some of this from the local people, to give me a heads up before, just so I let them know that they should prepare with a couple of them. But they are making it, yes. So every local family who lives in the village site would make them, and they are truly beautiful. Yeah, thank you. Very good question. I'm glad that we have people who are experienced with this and there are people who are new to this. So you can help each other as well. Experiences.
Okay, okay, any other questions or any questions from the people online? Yes, we got another one here. Hang on.
Will the Zoom meeting be recorded for those of us that won't be able to be there?
Yes, I'll make sure we get it recorded. And we're going to schedule it officially this time, like get Rosie to help us. Yes, another question.
I can also help if needed.
When do we need to make our decision about coming? What month and such? What's the deadline for you so that you can get things to work for us?
So I would generally recommend February, because in my experience, many American people would know like a year before when they want to take out vacations and when they want to travel. I would recommend February, but we are very flexible. If you are telling me by June that when you're coming, I would need to know just in order that I can give an exact price for the group. So this is why I need to know, not because I cannot organize. I can organize it for you tomorrow as well if needed. But in order to make an estimate cost on the bus and every other type of spendings, I would need to know that I'm working with 25 people or 15 people, because the price for the whole group changes. This is why I would recommend January or February. I think people can decide in those months if they want to travel in like half a year, knowing that the decision impacts the whole group. So that's what I would recommend. I'm a little bit harsh on this, but I think that makes the most sense.
Okay, any more questions? All right, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Reverend Zsolt.
Thank you very much. Bye. Thank you very much for having me, and have a lovely day ahead.